Introduction. Imagine someone who constantly talks about their plans, their goals, and their big dreams. They tell you about all the great things they're going to achieve, but somehow they never seem to follow through. They make grand promises, but are never able to deliver. Over time, how does this make you feel? You likely begin to lose respect for them, right? The gap between their words and actions becomes so wide that you start doubting everything they say. It's frustrating, and perhaps even a little demoralizing. We all know someone like this. This is where the wisdom of Stoicism can offer us some clarity. In Stoic philosophy, it's not enough to talk about your principles, your values, or your goals. What truly matters is whether you live by them. Words without action are hollow, and it's only through consistent, deliberate action that you can earn the respect of others. The Stoics teach us that the real measure of a person lies not in their ability to speak well, but in their capacity to live virtuously and act with integrity. In the words of the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, what you do is what you are. Your actions define you, not your words. This principle is central to Stoicism because it directly addresses the power of practice over theory and emphasizes how a life lived in accordance with nature, virtue, and discipline will earn true respect. Respect not based on promises, but on deeds. In the same vein, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This perfectly encapsulates the Stoic mindset. Don't talk about what you should do it. Your actions, grounded in reason and virtue, will not only serve as the foundation of your own character, but will also influence the world around you. This concept is crucial for understanding how Stoicism challenges us to live. Actions are the truest reflection of your character, and it's through your actions that others will come to know you. The great Stoic thinkers, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, were not known for grandiose speeches. They were known for their actions that embodied the principles they preached. Chapter 1. Why actions speak louder than words. There is a simple yet profound truth in life. Actions speak louder than words. We all know it. But how often do we forget it? It's easy to talk about what we're going to do, to make promises and share our big ideas. But the real test comes when it's time to act. Words are simple. Actions are the true measure of character. If you've ever had a friend or colleague who continuously promises to help you but never follows through, you know how disheartening it can be. They talk about how they'll support you, how they'll be there when you need them. But when the time comes, they're nowhere to be found. Over time, you begin to question their sincerity. Their promises start to sound more like empty words than genuine offers of help. This is why the Stoics valued actions over words. Talk is easy, but action requires discipline, focus, and integrity. In a world full of promises, the Stoic finds their value in what they do, not what they say. Consider the words of Marcus Aurelius, who understood the power of actions better than most. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This is the essence of Stoicism in action. Don't just talk about virtue, demonstrate it. If you want to be considered a good person, don't just discuss what a good person looks like, live it. This call to action isn't merely about fulfilling obligations. It's about aligning one's actions with the virtues one espouses. It's important to remember that actions are more than just the fulfillment of promises. They are the living expression of your values and beliefs. The Stoic philosophy teaches that you must not only do, but do in accordance with virtue. To be truly respected, it's not enough to accomplish tasks. You must accomplish them with the right intention, grounded in reason, justice, and wisdom. Take a moment to think about your own life. How often have you told yourself that you would take action on a project, improve your health, or work on a skill, only to fall short? Now imagine if every time you spoke about your goals, others witnessed you following through with persistent, disciplined action. What would your life look like? How would others view you? The gap between talking and doing is where respect is earned or lost. If your actions are consistent with your words, others will begin to trust and respect you. If your actions fail to match your promises, you lose credibility. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. For them, it wasn't about gaining external validation, but about living a life of integrity. A good example of this is Epictetus, whose teachings focus not on grand ideas or philosophies, but on how to live with discipline and purpose. He emphasized the importance of acting in alignment with one's principles, regardless of external circumstances. To Epictetus, a person's worth wasn't measured by how eloquently they spoke, but by the quality and consistency of their actions. Consider, for instance, the Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This exercise prepares the Stoic for hardship by mentally rehearsing the challenges they might face. The goal is not to talk about how strong or resilient one will be in the face of adversity, but to practice fortitude and to act with resolve when the challenge inevitably arises. In this way, Stoicism teaches us that words are less important than deeds, especially in difficult situations. In Stoicism, this principle extends to every aspect of life, from personal development to professional conduct. Whether it's the Stoic practice of controlling one's emotions, handling conflict with composure, or practicing humility and success, the focus is always on action. Words alone do not cultivate virtue. Actions do. Think about a time when you faced a difficult situation and chose to act with restraint or integrity, even though it was hard. Maybe you could have lashed out in anger, but instead chose calmness and reason. Or maybe you could have acted out of selfishness, but chose to act with generosity instead. In these moments, your actions became the true measure of your character, and this is what the Stoics believed was the most powerful way to live. Chapter 2. The Stoic Framework: How to Turn Words into Action. Understanding that actions are what earn respect is only the beginning. The next step is how to align your actions with your principles. Stoicism offers a practical framework for doing just that, one that doesn't require grand speeches or public displays of effort, but rather an ongoing commitment to living with intention and purpose. At the heart of Stoicism lies the idea of focusing on what is within your control. Your thoughts, actions, and responses to external events are all that you can truly control. The Stoic sees this as a profound freedom. In a world full of distractions, expectations, and obligations, focusing on your own behavior and choices is the key to living a virtuous life. Seneca, another key Stoic philosopher, wrote extensively about the importance of making every action count. He believed that small, consistent actions, performed with wisdom and self-control, were more powerful than grand gestures. For Seneca, the key to turning words into actions was to live deliberately and mindfully, making sure that each action you took was aligned with your values. Seneca reminds us that virtue is not something that can be achieved in a moment. It's a practice. It's in the small moments of everyday life where we either act with virtue or fail. The Stoics believed that excellence is cultivated gradually, through constant practice and conscious effort. A single noble act will not make you a wise or virtuous person, but repeated acts of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance will shape your character over time. This is how you build a life that earns the respect of others. One of the key tools in turning words into actions is self-examination. In the evenings, many Stoic philosophers, including Marcus Aurelius, would reflect on the day, what went well, what didn't, and how they could improve. This daily reflection allowed them to course correct and ensure that their actions were aligned with their values. By consistently examining yourself, you can identify where your actions may have strayed from your intentions and adjust accordingly. Chapter 3. The importance of consistency in actions. In the Stoic worldview, consistency is a virtue. It's not enough to occasionally act with virtue or discipline. You must cultivate these qualities every day. It's the accumulation of small, virtuous actions that ultimately leads to a respected and virtuous character. The Stoic philosophers understood that real change takes time. It's easy to make grand promises or declarations about how we're going to live, but the true test comes in the everyday, mundane choices. Will you remain calm and measured in the face of frustration? Will you maintain integrity even when no one is watching? These are the moments that define your character. It's easy to talk about how we should act in an ideal situation, but Stoicism teaches that life is made up of consistency in your actions doesn't mean perfection. Stoicism teaches that failure is part of the process. The key is not to avoid failure, but to continue striving, learning, and growing. A Stoic does not despair after a misstep, but reflects, learns, and uses the experience to become better. Conclusion: the true source of respect. When we look at the lives of the Stoics, we see that their respect was not earned through empty promises or grand speeches. It was earned through consistent, virtuous action. The Stoic ideal is not to be known for your words, but for the integrity of your actions. In every area of life, whether it's dealing with challenges, interacting with others, or facing your own emotions, the Stoic asks you to turn your values into action. It's easy to talk about change, to talk about virtue, to talk about the kind of person you want to be. But words without action are like a tree without roots, shallow and insubstantial. It is only through actions that you demonstrate who you truly are. The Stoics didn't just talk about wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. They lived it every day. And in doing so, they earned the respect of others, not through empty promises, but through their deeds. So, as you move forward in your own life, remember, your actions will earn you respect. Talk less, do more, and let your deeds reflect the character you wish to cultivate.